the Federal Reserve chose to keep interest rates steady for the last 5 particular months. But before we get to that, I want to show this right here.
This real-time kind of fact check between him and Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
Yeah, you never see presidents go to the Fed at all. It's an independent agency. The president appoints. There's confirmation for the Federal Reserve Chair. But other than that, there isn't typically any kind of interaction. Now you see some direct interaction. And the president at one point even said, hey, look, maybe he can lower interest rates, and I feel better about him. And they obviously disagree on that. But you're right. The real-time fact checking on the cost overruns in that building, where you see the chairman of the Federal Reserve get out his reading glasses and say, no, you got that wrong, Mr. President. Never seen anything like this before. What seems to be going on is the administration is trying to build a case to either oust or force out or make life miserable for the chairman of the Federal Reserve, even if there isn't any kind of direct pressure that's being applied now.
This moment that we saw here was unprecedented by a president. No sitting president has ever gone to the Federal Reserve Chair and say, hey, I need you to lower interest rates. The reason why Trump wants people to lower these interest rates is because then he can go out there and say, hey, my economic policies are working. But they're not working. And it's on full display. But if he could try and get the Fed to drop interest rates, then he could try and save some face, if you will. But that shit ain't gonna work. Listen to this shit.
It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody.
Pull that boy whole card. Look, you got your reading glass, doc.
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the market renovation. You just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. It's more than 5 years ago.
What we're seeing here is Trump trying to push and pressure this man publicly, trying to smear his name so that he can try and get him to manipulate the interest rates in Trump's favor. These interest rates are gonna, I don't want to say dictate how people spend their money, but they give a strong indicator to people whether they should make big purchases or not. When the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates, it gives a indication that the environment for purchasing things like homes or doing big renovations or doing big projects are conducive to you. It means things are cheaper during that time. So they'll lower interest rates to get the economy going, to make you buy things, because generally when things are cheaper, people buy things. When interest rates are lower, people make big, humongous purchases. But when interest rates are higher, then those big, humongous purchases are not made. Those big, humongous purchases are put on the back burner to say, we'll do that shit later when these interest rates come down. We're not going to see any change in interest rates anytime soon. There was a lot of internet chatter going around saying, oh, yeah. At the end of July, we're going to see them make them rates cut, the rate cut, interest rates going to get cut. We did not see that interest rate cut happen. It's not going to happen. Interest rates, where is that? It's stuck at around 4.2, 4.5%, somewhere in this damn article. I read it earlier. But the other thing that is hurting our chances of getting interest rates cuts are Trump's tariffs. I'm just going to highlight that right now. Let me talk about that in a minute. But we've seen all these tariffs drive prices up. The economy is not stabilized because of these unhinged economic policies. There's no way in hell the Fed is going to cut interest rates to tell people they go out there and buy things when we see tariffs causing everyday prices to increase. We see inflation has increased for 2 consecutive months, but it remained well below a peak attained in June of 2022. So we had 2 consecutive months of inflation growing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to do something real quick. I want to do a little quick experiment. I want to look up, I'm going to go out, trusty friend Google. We're going to look up the definition of define recession. A period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industry activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 consecutive quarters. Now, we've had two consecutive months of inflation increasing. Once we have 2 consecutive quarters of this shit happening, we're going to be in a recession, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you're prepared for that shit, but you better if you're not.